of Fairfax was saying on the floor that, this health care is important, but he's concerned there will be a huge budget down the road that will cost Virginians a great deal of money. And others have said, Eric Cantor is from Virginia, that the Republicans nationwide see Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, as a political wedge for the Republicans in the elections this year. There are thousands of state house seats up all across the country, and that does not make political sense for the Republicans to cave or to give in on the Medicare funding. Is there an exit strategy? Do you have a plan B of what you would like to do that maybe will sweeten the pot for the Republicans? Because they have a lot. I mean, they keep saying they're not going to change.
And when you say House, Republicans, remember, it's the House of Delegates, because I do have a bipartisan agreement in our state Senate.
Right. That's what I mentioned there, the House specifically.
Yeah, just the House specifically. First of all, the arguments they've put up one roadblock after another. They said, let's do an audit. Tom, we've had 63 audits. They said this will bankrupt the state. So they ordered an actuarial analysis from Price Waterhouse. They ordered it, not me. That report came back and said, over the next 8 years, this will not cost Virginia any money, but actually will save our budget $1.1 billion, because the efficiencies you'll bring in, the folks signing up, 70% of the households, someone is working. So it saves us $1.1 billion, which I can use on pre-K, keeping college tuitions low, all the things people want their governor to work on. And in fairness, they want all of us to work on together. So that argument is wrong that he made. And on the out years, when you look at 2022, 23, 24 outward, it's about $11 million a year. We've saved $1.1 billion. In those later years, our budget is probably $50 billion a year. So that's a false argument. It has been argument, but their last argument was decouple the budget. The speaker himself admitted the other day that it's germane to the budget.
So what is the whole, is it sheer politics, Affordable Care Act?
Yeah, you bet.
That's it. Nothing.
What else is what? We're going to forfeit billions of dollars of our taxpayer money. And I'd like to say, no matter where you may be on the health care bill, it's now the law of the land. The Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court and the Supreme Court decided I have to deal with the laws in front of me. If this were President Ronald Reagan or President George Bush and I was sitting in this chair here today, I would be saying, please, thank you for bringing this money back to Virginia, to running through our economy. The problem is, there are so many misstatements as it relates to this. All we're talking about, Tom, is this coverage gap. As you know, the Medicaid goes up to 100%, and then the Affordable Care Act goes above the 138. We are talking about a segment closing the coverage gap of these folks.
So politically speaking, it seems to me you have to do some kind of, even if it's paper covering, some kind of political sweetener to give the Republicans in the House a chance to make a deal.
I offered a budget. I went out with a 2-year budget.
Free food and drink, obviously, is not
I called
working.
the Secretary, Sebelius, and said, will you give me a letter that says Virginia can get out after 2 years? Let's try it as a trial. 100% paid for, no risk to Virginia, no risk. She gave me the letter. You know what? House Republicans wouldn't even look at that. There's a reason why every Chamber of Commerce pretty much in Virginia supports this. Every business leader supports this. I mean, we have a coalition of the Chambers of Commerce, almost every single editorial page.
Hospitals.
The Richmond Times-Dispatch, which is not known as a liberal editorial page, literally came out against the speaker yesterday and said, get this done. Marketplace Virginia is the right thing for Virginia. So they're off in their corner. It's time they started doing their job, representing the folks who sent them to Richmond. Let's get this job done in a bipartisan way.